Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Early Bird. We're going to take a look at last night's games. Another team is gone. Another series looks like it's headed to 7. Let's look at it coming up. This late game yesterday was one for the ages, absolutely. And the earlier game between the Rangers and Carolina, we're going to look at that in a sec here, was a heck of a game also. So these playoffs are, I think, going to go right. You know what? This year might be the year, guys. Might be the year we finally get to see a Game 7 in overtime in the Stanley Cup Finals, which we haven't seen in our lifetimes. Some of us. I mean, unless you've seen the early 50s Stanley Cup with Pete Bando, which is like 70 years it hasn't happened. It would be something to see a Game 7 going overtime in the Stanley Cup Finals this year is what I'm hoping to see. All right, I'm half awake. Let's get into this. All right, here we go. All right, there you see Carolina and the Rangers. Carolina wins that one 3-1. Pretty much all Carolina in that game mostly, even in a lot of areas, but Carolina really were the aggressor in that game. Once again, Carolina show up in their home ice, and I keep saying in this series, somebody's got to win on the road sooner or later, you figure. Anyway, we will see. The next game, the big one, guys, really, this was the big one. Edmonton and Calgary in an epic Game 5. Edmonton win in overtime. McDavid gets the winner in a thriller in Calgary. All right, so let's head out east and work our way west eventually, but let's take a look at this game in Carolina, and we'll talk about the Western game in a sec. Here we go. Hurricanes win Game 5, push Rangers to brink in Eastern second round. The numbers pretty much tell the tale in this one right away. Okay, you see the shots on goal, 34-17, and folks, that is honestly the tale of this game. It really was. The face-offs, 45% for the Rangers, 55% for the Hurricanes. That's actually pretty good because the Hurricanes have pretty much had their number there, but that's actually pretty good. Each were 1 for 2 on the power play. The Rangers had the edge in hits, 31-30. Each team had 20 blocks, and each team had 15 giveaways. The shots on goal, we'll look at how they doubled them. There you see in the first period, 11-5. In the second period, 10-5. In the third period, 13-7. And Carolina doubles the Rangers, 34-17 for the game. So the Rangers right now are going to go home. This is a young team, so there's nothing to be ashamed of if the Rangers bow out even next game, okay? But I fully expect the Rangers to not have 17 shots in their home ice next game. They're most likely going to have about 35 shots, I figure, next game, and about 35 hits. The Rangers are going to come out hard next game, I'm positive. And I would not be surprised this is going to go 7. This could go 7 in overtime also. Really, this is just another crazy series. But this Rangers team yesterday hung around. They were around all game. They just weren't generating offense. They just really weren't. And when they did have chances, they were shooting wide, and it was just things wasn't going right for them. But did they play a good game overall? Probably, yeah. Really, I mean, look, when you're in a game like in Carolina, who haven't lost in their home ice, and you're around all game, and it's 2-1, and they finally make it 3-1 on you. It's home ice has been everything in this series. This is proof, guys, why it's important in the regular season. Series like this, the series of Boston and Carolina this year is actually proof why you need to get home ice in a series. But Carolina is going to have to, sooner or later, win a game on the road, or they will find their way out of this playoff. Let's go out west. McDavid Oilers win Game 5 against Flames in overtime, advance to Western Final. And the numbers say It says, yeah, well, if you look, 36-35 shots on goal. That pretty much says it, believe it or not. But look at those faceoffs. Now, at one point, Calgary in this game were out on the faceoffs. They were outdoing them 20-2 at one point. It was like 95%. It really was at one point. And then Edmonton started to get back into this game. And that after the 2-0 lead, and we seen that wild spurt where they, what was it, 4 goals in like a minute and 7 seconds or something? I don't even know. It's an NHL record now. But they scored the fastest 4 goals in a playoff game, which is surprising when you think of the 80s Oilers that they didn't do that. But no, apparently it's a new record. Edmonton, 1-for-1 on the power play. Calgary, 0-for-2. Low-hitting game overall. Edmonton, 23 hits. Calgary, 28. The blocks, Edmonton had 19, Calgary had 13, and giveaways, the Oilers had 10, the Flames had 18. And we'll look at those shots. First period, 6-5 in favor of Edmonton. Second period, 18-13 in favor of Calgary. And the third period, 14-7 in favor of Edmonton. And in the overtime, 6-2 in favor of Calgary. 36-35 for the game. McDavid ends it in overtime. Yeah, I was just looking at talking about the hitting in this game. It was almost like these guys were content, okay, just to let each other skate, and we're just going to we'll showcase our talents, and we're just going to see who wins this game. It overall was a pretty clean affair. It really was. It really, I mean, look, I think Calgary wanted to know themselves, can we beat these guys if we skate with them, And, I had picked Edmonton in 6, and I figured the McDavid factor would be it. And I'll tell you what, it was also Draisaitl. My goodness. Draisaitl had 3 points in every single one of these games or more. He set an NHL record, I believe, right, for most points in a series also, they were saying. I think it was like 17 points in this series, or something like that. It was just nuts. So the Flames are out. The Flames had, I won't say they had a good run, and I think Markstrom just couldn't get in the zone. He just couldn't, and that's credit to the Oilers. Really, that's credit to their offense. That team just kept coming at them. And there's a lot of reasons you can look at Calgary. Maybe didn't make a run or whatever it is, but when it's in the Battle of Alberta, it is what it is. It could be next year that Edmonton's heavy favorites and Calgary knock them out next year. It just is the way it is, that rivalry. There's no way to predict it, really. I just figured why I had picked Edmonton in this series is McDavid, Connor McDavid. I mean, this was what I thought the difference would be in this series. And Calgary had a hell of a year. I mean, nothing to be ashamed of for their fans. They had a hell of a year. And it's always hard when you lose, because when you lose, it starts to become obvious you're going to lose. And that, if I'm a Flames fan, I don't get caught up with that goal that was disallowed. I just don't. He maybe should have made sure his skate didn't touch that puck as it went in, actually, if you look at it. And because it was a disallowed goal, the Calgary scored with like under 5 minutes left. And, when you're that close to being eliminated on your home ice after you scored 9 goals in your first game, it's not because of that one goal. You know what I mean? It's because this team, you just couldn't contain them. And, anyway, I'll give you a quick nutshell on both games, and then I got to get out of here, guys. Carolina, Rangers. I expect that actually to hold serve on home ice at this point. It's just nuts what's going on with that series too. I didn't think Carolina would look as good as they did yesterday, and there they showed up with their A game again. So it's bizarre, but it is what it is. When they're on their home ice, they take advantage of their matchups, and of course they feed off the home crowd, the energy. We'll see what happens back in New York. I wouldn't be entirely shocked though if Carolina finally win a road game. And then if it goes to Game 7, if the Rangers finally win a road game in Carolina, who knows? We'll have to see. And final thoughts again on the Oilers and Flames. It's a Battle of Alberta. You guys, over the years, you know it, Oilers fans, Flames fans, it's a very unpredictable series. Every time these two go in, you just know it's going to be entertaining. The hockey was good. It was entertaining for a lot of goals. For the fans that wanted to see a lot of goals in a series, you got to in that series, you know. I like games like Carolina and the Rangers, the 3-1 type, 2-1. I like those type of games come playoff time. I do. I don't really like, it's too nerve-wracking for me. If I'm a fan, if the Sabres were in a deep run again and they're in like 6-5 games and 5-4, it'd be driving me nuts. It just would be. But anyway, good hockey. We'll see. We'll see now. The Oilers finally, with Connor McDavid, have put together a deep run. And this is one of the reasons I picked them to go this far last year. You might recall in my prediction videos last year, I picked the Oilers to go to the conference final last year. So we'll see what they do this time around, because they're not going to be easy to stop the way they're scoring. It doesn't matter who they play, whether it be the Blues or the Avalanche. We'll see today with that one. All right, guys, that's it. The early bird is singing, and I got to get out of here. It's been a long night. I was up late with my friend. He's an Oiler fan, and we were talking. Oh my goodness, must have been till like 3 in the morning. Okay, I'll see you folks later on tonight. Have a good one, guys.